Joseph. Hi, this is Joseph Cobbs again. This is module 8, unit 11, and we're working on some of the leadership roles and understanding how the school is working to teach me as a teacher how to help the students grow more as individual U.S. as citizens, world citizens, and some of the things that we're doing. I've been working with Lee an hour a week. He's been with the science team. We've been working with doing what we call UBDs and designing the curriculum to make sure that the students are going to get what they need. And we're here today. Scott is the head of the HR, and he's going to talk about just a little bit about the structure of the school and how that's all working. So let's see if we can see you there. There we go. Good.
Hello. So I'll just talk briefly about the way the school is set up, and which is pretty typical of how international schools are set up. There is a board of directors. There are 3 active members of the board of directors who meet pretty much weekly during an average quarter or semester of the school year. There is a 4th member of the board who is, we call the silent one, a silent partner, and they work with her on the phone or emails about the way the school's run, but she doesn't come to the board meetings and doesn't have an active participation. Then there ideally is a director of the school. Right now the school is absent a director, and so we've hired an interim for next year, and we're going to go into a search. But the flow chart for the organizational behavior is definitely the board of directors, the director of the school, and then there's a leadership team made up of myself. I'm actually the director of admissions and human resources, and then Lee, who is the director of academics at ISM, and then all 3 principals from the elementary, middle, and high school are on the admin team. In addition to the HR manager is also part of the administrative team. And that group right now is operating the management of the school in conjunction with the board, and we all meet ideally again once a week, pretty much once a week, with the board to talk about things that need to be done to keep the academic year flowing. So Lee's going to talk in more detail about the academic pieces and curriculum development and things like that, and how he works with teachers and with Joe specifically to develop skill sets for those people.
So the leadership team meets on a regular basis to look at the goals of the school, identify how those goals are actually going to be implemented. We also make decisions based on a good sound practice and for ensuring that there's a level of accountability that we would expect all teachers to be involved with. My primary role is to develop curriculum, and we've addressed all of the curriculum except for one subject area over the last 2 years. And we have worked extensively with professional development with teachers for the Understanding by Design model of unit development. I've been working well with Joseph over the last year. He's been working with his head of department as well. And one of the things that we work on, in addition to the UBDs, is what we call ESLERs, the Essential School-Wide Learning Outcomes. These are essentially the key elements for student learning that we have in the school. It talks about having students become involved citizens, having them become academic achievers, having them be effective communicators, having them be critical thinkers, and then having them have being self-directed lifelong learners. Those are the major areas that we work on. One way that we do this is in each of the buildings, we ask the principals to work with the teachers and directly work with the students to have them understand what these various principles mean, and then put into practice and in a very tangible way what these elements mean for the students themselves. We spend approximately a month on this at the beginning of the school year to ensure that students really do have a well-rounded understanding of our ESLERs. In addition to that, we also have them work on the school goals. Having the school goals is nice, but if they're not actually utilized and and visited regularly, then they're not very effective. And we work extensively with teachers on having them revisit the school goals on a regular basis to help understand what those goals are and demonstrate what they do with students to put those goals into practice.
So Lee, also, I've noticed I'm really involved in the sports in the school. I coached three different sports last year, and next year I'm going to probably do 3 or 4. That's why I'm actually moving out of Meridian, which I love, just to be closer to the school. They won't let me be in Diamond, but I'm going to be even closer to Diamond in my own place so I can do the sports. But I noticed that because I go to Mr. Rick's class quite often, and he's got the environmental club there, and the kids really are very busy and do a lot to support the neighborhoods and the community. There's the environmental club, there's Claws and Paws, there's an orphanage club. I can't remember all the clubs, but there's several, and each student is required to participate in at least one of them. Some of them do it in more than one.
We have a very broad community service organization of what you're referring to, and we believe very strongly that we have to give back to the community as the community gives to us.
Exactly. And we also, I know I participated in, we had besides our International Day, we had another day, I think they called it the Fun Fair.
Fun Fair.
And I know I had to let students throw sponges at my face.
Yeah.
And we had it was a big thing. We rented a big facility, and a lot of people were there selling stuff and making food. There was rides, and we collected a lot of money for the underprivileged in our community.
Approximately $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000. So the school, I think what I really appreciate about being at the school is they're very good at getting the students to look at the whole picture. This is a very quickly changing community here in Yangon, and the whole country is just exploding and changing so many times. I spend a lot of time talking about the environment because I'm a surfer and a diver, and I'm really concerned about the environment. But just so many things are changing in this society, and I think ISM, our school here, International School of Myanmar, is doing an excellent job at creating world citizens with our students by all these different clubs. I think that's a great part.
One of the things that we really believe in is the development of the whole child. And part of that is to have them be world citizens and contribute back to the community of which they are part of. Most of our students leave for the United States to go to universities, and we have to prepare them culturally to be in a different environment than Myanmar so that they will be successful. And we are proud enough to say that we have a number of students going to Ivy League colleges this coming year, which I think is a real feather in the students' cap. We believe very strongly that students need to do well, and we work extensively and on a very personal level to make sure that they will be successful.
Yeah, I feel really blessed to be at this school. The students work really hard. We have some really good students. And I even have some students that have to struggle to compete against the really top students at the school. And I've spent a lot of time after school between 3 and 4 with probably 7 or 8 of my students from my classes just to get their grades up, because it is a competitive school. There are some very smart, some of the young ladies in the school are writing at a college level, and some of the men are too, and they're just, in my science classes, some of them are just, they have like 98%. And,
well, as you know, most of our students are English as a second language students, and what we've learned through the MAP testing is the longer they stay in the school, the more proficient they become and the more self-achieving that they are.
Yeah. And like you probably remember the last video I did, I spent a lot of time on special strategies for English language learners. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning to be able to teach to English language learners, because those are my students.
And in fact, what we do is we have regular sessions, as you know, during staff meetings. Those staff meetings are not management meetings. They are really professional development. So we identify what skills the students need. We train the teachers on developing what strategies they have to improve those student skills. And then we have teachers come back with evidence to say, this is what I've done in my classroom. And that's a very rich conversation.
Yeah, yeah. We've met. I don't remember exactly how. It's like once a month we meet with Ben and Beth,
Yeah.
and also with Mark with the map testing,
Mm-hmm.
and then exactly what you were saying. We meet with them and do some professional development, and especially aiming at English language learners, and it's been very helpful.
I think people have really developed their own personal skills because we believe at this school, every teacher is an English teacher. Whether you're teaching science or mathematics or physical education, we are all English teachers. And in order for our kids to be successful in the world abroad, their English skills have to be extremely high.
Yes, yes. And I've actually changed my summative assessments because initially I was doing a lot of multiple choice and true or false. And the last 3 or 4 summative evaluations, it's all fill in the blank, and then part of it's short essay.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these tests take me 30 minutes to grade, and if you have 90 students, that's a lot of time to grade them. But I think it's much better for the students to practice writing it in academic English and doing it in essay form and at least short answer. I think it's harder for them to come up with that than to pick off a true or false or multiple choice.
It also demonstrates not only their ability in English, but their level of thinking as well.
Yeah, so I've been working at changing my summative assessments that way because I think it's helping to prepare them more when they go into university, and then after university. I'm also doing a lot of experimenting with a lot of collaborative learning in class, so that the students work together in teams, and then they come up with the information. And then a lot of times I do instant expert, where they have to come up and teach part of the section of the class that we're studying. And I think it's great for the kids to work together, the students, and that way they're learning how to this is the problem, we need to solve this problem, and they come up with that, and they work together as a team to solve the problem. And I think that really relates well to them in the real world.
Yeah, and what we try to do is model what we expect teachers to do in the classroom as we have our own professional development opportunities within the school.
Yes, yes. But I'm fortunate to be at the school. We have a lot of different things going on to help us with professional development, and the students are fantastic. And I'm learning. I'm still a new teacher. I'm learning a lot. I hope to improve a lot next year also. And it's just been a really great experience. I just love to see the kids learn. I love to see them work together in teams. And I try to emphasize a lot of real-world applications when I'm teaching biology or chemistry or whatever. I always break it down into what does that mean in the real world? What can you use this information for? Why is this information even important to learn, other than just like, okay, you're going to learn 40 steps of the Krebs cycle. We talk about that, but we get into something that's more of a general picture that they can take long term and learn longer and recall down the road, rather than just specific little things. So
another element that we have here is curriculum mapping. And that mapping allows the teacher to have a really good handle on the sequencing of the elements within their program. And by having it mapped out, that's a legacy that teacher will leave once that teacher departs the school for a new teacher coming in. So we have a continuous series of positive elements for teachers to use when they come to the school. And then we're more accountable as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's what we're doing at the school to ensure that that from the board to the director to the curriculum department, we're with the principal and everything, that the teachers are getting information to help the students grow and learn and prepare them for their academic careers in college, and also their careers in the job the profession they're going to choose.
Most of our students return to Myanmar from abroad when they get their degrees. And another element that we've realized is we have to continue working on their Myanmar language skills as well as their English skills. So we have kind of a double-edged sword here.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm studying Myanmar right now, and it's
It's not easy.
It's
not an easy language.
not easy compared to English for me, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'm trying to. This first semester, I've been so busy with the Teaching Out program and teaching 3 sports. And my first year of teaching, I didn't get to study much anymore. But next semester, I'm going to teach all biology, and I won't have the teaching program, so it's going to afford me a lot more time to study the language. And I think by studying the language, I'm going to be able to learn a little bit more about the culture and relate to the students better. You know, maybe when we're playing soccer or playing basketball, I can speak to them in Myanmar and get to know them on a personal level better. I found that with some of my struggling students, if I go play sports with them and hang out with them and get to know them as a person, we work better together in class. And I have one particular student, Bruce, who's he's a spirited young man. He's got a lot of energy. You could say he's hyperactive. And he had a C or a D when he first started, and he's got a solid B now. And it's because I play basketball with him, I hang out with him, and I kind of developed a relationship with the students. And I think that if I learn Myanmar and I can speak to them, not in classroom time, but outside the school, like at lunch, or playing sports with them in their own native tongue, that I can get that connection, that relationship, which I think will help translate into better understanding while I'm teaching.
We believe very strongly in culture, and certainly what you're talking about is the culture that we would expect to have as a positive one within the school, and an extensive relationship between the teacher and the student, so that that culture will continue to grow.
Yeah. So that's what we're working on this week, and appreciate your time. Lee, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Very helpful, and thank you for helping us with the UBDs. So that's all we have for this week. I will see you next week in the next video. Thank you, Patty. Bye-bye.